Apple was just 90 days from total collapse. Investors were pulling out. Experts said it was impossible to save. The company was hemorrhaging $1 million every single day. Then, out of nowhere, Steve Jobs walked back into Apple. And in just a few months, he made one decision, so shocking, so ruthless, that it didn't just save Apple. It turned it into a $3 trillion empire. What was that decision, and why did it change everything? Let's dive in. The fall of Apple. In 1997, Apple wasn't just struggling, it was dying. The company that revolutionized personal computing in the 80s was now drowning in chaos. Sales were plummeting, products were cluttered and confusing. Microsoft had taken over the market. Competitors like Dell and Compaq were outselling Apple at every turn. Worst of all, Apple was bleeding money, $1 billion per year. Experts predicted Apple had only 90 days before bankruptcy. Employees were demoralized, investors were losing faith, and the once great company was on the verge of being sold off in pieces. Then, Steve Jobs returned. After being forced out of his own company in 1985, Jobs spent years building Next and Pixar, waiting for an opportunity. That opportunity came when Apple, desperate for help, acquired Next for $429 million and brought him back. But Apple didn't just need a leader, it needed a miracle. The ruthless move that changed everything. When Jobs walked into Apple's headquarters, what he saw was a complete disaster. Apple had 350 different products, from printers to cameras to random software projects. There was no focus, no vision. So, Jobs did something ruthless. He killed 70% of Apple's products. Printers, gone. PDAs, canceled. Unnecessary software projects, shut down. He refocused Apple on just 4 products. That's it. This decision shocked employees and angered investors, but Jobs didn't care. He knew that a company dying from complexity needed radical simplicity. But that was just step 1. He took the unthinkable partnership. Apple still needed cash, fast, and Jobs made a move that no one saw coming. He called his biggest rival, Bill Gates. Yes, the same Bill Gates who dominated the industry with Microsoft. The same Microsoft that Apple fans considered the enemy. But Jobs didn't care about pride, he cared about survival. And in 1997, Microsoft invested $150 million in Apple. It was a lifeline that gave Apple just enough breathing room to execute Jobs' vision. But Steve Jobs didn't want to just survive. He wanted to change the world. The rise of Apple. First came the iMac. It was sleek, colorful, and fun. It was the anti-PC. Then in 2001, Apple introduced the iPod. Nice, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That one sentence changed the music industry forever. The iPod was an instant hit. Then came iTunes, which allowed people to buy digital music instead of CDs. But the real turning point? 2007, the iPhone. A touchscreen phone with no physical keyboard, just a glass screen. Critics laughed. Nokia and BlackBerry dominated the market. No one thought Apple had a chance. But Jobs knew. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. And he was right. The iPhone wasn't just a phone, it was a computer in your pocket. It crushed the competition, it reinvented Apple. Today, Apple is worth over $3 trillion. And it all started with one man who refused to give up. The legacy of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs turned a dying company into the most valuable brand on earth. He made tough decisions, he ignored the doubters. He bet everything on innovation. And the result? Apple didn't just survive, it changed the world. Now, here's the question for you. Would you have taken the same risk? Comment yes if you would, or no if you wouldn't.